Let me ask you something uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed how some people are always the victim, no matter what happens? Late to work? My boss hates me. Relationship problems? I always attract toxic people. Missed a deadline? Nobody supports me. And before you say, I'm not like that, be honest. We've all done this at least once. So today, let's talk about something tricky, human, and a little funny. Why people secretly love being the victim. And no, it's not because they're weak. It's because the human brain finds comfort in it. Let me explain. First, here's the big truth nobody likes to admit. Being the victim feels safe. When you're the victim, you're not responsible. And when you're not responsible, you can't be blamed. Your brain loves that. Think about it. If everything is someone else's fault, then you don't have to change. You don't have to risk failing again. You don't have to face uncomfortable truths about yourself. Being the victim gives you a shield. Life hits you and you go, see, it's not me, it's the world. And honestly, sometimes that feels really good. Here's another reason. Victims get attention. Not always in a dramatic way, but in a human way. When you share a problem, people listen. They nod, they comfort you. They say things like, that's so unfair. Your brain hears that and goes, connection. Attention equals care. Care equals safety. So your brain learns something quietly. If I'm struggling, I'm not alone. And there's nothing wrong with wanting support. The problem starts when suffering becomes your identity. Now, let's add a little humor. Have you ever noticed how victim stories get better with repetition? The first time, it's, yeah, my boss corrected my work. By the fifth time, it's, my boss humiliates me in front of everyone. Same event, different story. Why? Because the more dramatic the story, the more validation it gets. And your brain loves validation like it loves sugar. Another big reason people love being the victim is it explains failure without hurting the ego. Saying, I didn't try hard enough, hurts. Saying, they were against me, doesn't. Being the victim protects your self-image. It allows you to believe, I would have succeeded if things were fair. And sometimes things really aren't fair. But staying in victim mode too long turns protection into a prison. Now, here's where it gets deeper. The victim mindset gives life a simple storyline. There's a bad guy, there's an innocent you, and there's a clear reason why things aren't working. Reality is messy. It has gray areas. It asks uncomfortable questions. The victim story doesn't. It's emotionally easier to say, this happened to me, than to say, I played a role in this. Your brain chooses the story that hurts less in the moment, even if it costs more in the long run. Now, let's talk about control. Here's the irony. People who stay in victim mode often feel powerless, but the mindset itself gives them control. Control over the narrative, control over blame, control over sympathy. As long as you're the victim, you don't have to take action. And action is scary. Action means risk. It means responsibility. It means possibly failing again. Victimhood says, stay here, it's familiar. Childhood plays a role too. If growing up, attention came mostly when you were upset, sick, or struggling, your brain learned a pattern. Pain equals connection. So later in life, the brain keeps using the same strategy. Not consciously, not manipulatively, just automatically. Now, here's the part that really matters. Being a victim isn't the same as being hurt. People do get wronged. People do suffer. Pain is real. The difference is what you do after the pain. Victimhood says, this defines me. Growth says, this happened to me, but it doesn't own me. One keeps you stuck. The other gives you power back. Here's the uncomfortable truth your brain doesn't like hearing. Staying a victim feels comfortable, but it slowly steals your future. Because if everything is always someone else's fault, then nothing is ever in your control. And a life without control feels small.
The moment you stop asking, "Why does this always happen to me?" and start asking, "What can I do differently now?" something shifts. You don't become cold. You don't lose empathy. You just stop living inside the same story on repeat. So if you ever catch yourself enjoying the victim role a little too much, don't judge yourself. Notice it. Your brain is just trying to feel safe, seen, and protected. But you're allowed to outgrow the story that once helped you survive. You don't need to be the victim to be valid. You don't need suffering to deserve care. And the moment you step out of that role, you don't lose sympathy. You gain freedom. So, tell me, have you ever caught yourself staying in the victim role longer than necessary? Yeah, most of us have.